Well, how's it going, everybody, and welcome back. Today, hopefully this will be the last video on the old TJ, or at least the engine part of it. If you missed the other videos, I bought this truck a month or so ago, a couple months ago, and it wasn't running. After I tore into it, I found that a nut, like a bolt, like a nut, had fallen into the intake runners somewhere and wedged itself into the valve and damaged the valve seat and the valve. So I tore it all apart, went over to Hot Rod J's, we fixed the head, machined a seat for it, all kinds of stuff. You can watch that video if you want to, but today all we really have to do is put the head onto this truck and, you know, just reinstall all this stuff, water pump, all that crap, and then see if it runs. Now, I don't know if this thing has a bad bottom end in the engine. I don't know if the transmission really works. It's a stick shift. I really don't know. So we're going to find out once we get everything all put back together. So that's it. Jay's in town tonight. He's in the area. He's going to come by and just help me slap that head on since it's a lot easier with two people. So I'll just stick you guys on a magnet on the hood, time lapse it just so I don't, abuse my buddy's time. We get it done a little bit faster. That's basically it. So here's the head. Really not a lot going on with it. I believe this is the valve right there, the offender. Yep, brand new valve right there, brand new seat in it. Again, you can watch that video if you want to, but other than that, everything looks like it's going to be all right. Just have to pop this MLS gasket off, clean out the cylinders a little tiny bit. Putting the intake and exhaust manifold on is going to be the hardest part because of just the angle that you have to get to all of these bolts is really awkward. But other than that, should be pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this thing off, clean up the deck of the block with some brake clean, and it should be pretty straightforward after that. Here's something to consider. I think it's kind of common knowledge, but in case somebody doesn't know, if you have a blind hole like all these head stud, threaded bolt holes here, if it has oil or something down inside of there, you have to make sure that you clear it out with air or something like that because you can't compress the oil and then it'll end up breaking the block. So as you're torquing the bolt down and tightening it, all you're doing is compressing all the oil or antifreeze or whatever you've got in these holes, and it'll finally just crack your block or whatever. So make sure that you blow them all out with air first. This one in the front goes into the water jacket, so you don't have to. I think that's the only hole on this engine that is not a blind hole, but hopefully that helps somebody. Alrighty, well, Rob and Jay just took off. Thanks to them for helping me out. I'll probably just time lapse all that. I don't really know what it'll look like right now because I couldn't even see in the camera. That's the downside of having it up there. But yeah, anyway, we torqued down all the head bolts. I put the rocker arms on it off camera. Just reassembling everything now is just going to be the whole, the rest of the job. It's 5 degrees outside right now without the wind chill. I shut my heater off about 10 minutes ago and it's already dropped 8 degrees in the shop, so it's pretty cold. So head bolt torque is 110 all the way around and 100 on this first one right here because it goes into the water jacket. So use Teflon tape on that, on the threads on that, number 1 or whatever bolt you want to call that. Again, 110 foot-pounds all the way across. Rocker arms, the torque for those is 19 to 21, so I just set it at 21. Torqued all those down, put the new gasket on there. I'll throw this thing on tomorrow. I put all new rubber gaskets in the valve cover, so we're pretty much good to go on all that. Reassemble everything up front. I'm just going to leave this oil leak for now because as far as I know, this engine could have a rod knock, so I'm not going to waste too much time on that. But I'm freezing. I'm going to go inside and I'll get to this thing soon. All right, well, here we go again. I don't remember what these bolts go to. Not entirely sure where those go, honestly. Maybe to the coil packs? I'm not sure. I'll figure it out though. Anyhow, the next thing I'm going to do anyway, now that I was thinking about it, is I'm going to put this intake and exhaust on this truck. Now, I'm not going to film this because it takes so doggone long, but these ears here, they share a bolt with the intake side, which also has similar ears, and like the bolt goes in there and has a big washer on there, and basically it holds both in, holds it both on. The top side isn't really the problem. It's the bottom ones are really, you can't see them. This truck actually isn't so bad to work on. Some of them have big cats down there that are really hard to get past, but it is time consuming and finicky. It's got some dowel pins down here that help align the intake manifold, so it makes it a little bit easier if you want to say that. Also, something Rob pointed out, I never noticed that both of the O2 sensors have the wiring cut on it. So I'm sure we're going to have a check engine light when we start this thing up. But let me go ahead and get this all squared away. Watch the other video if you don't, if you're not sure how this all works. But it's not that hard. It's just time consuming. Well, we've run into our first problem. I don't think that gas is going to fit. You can see right there, there's a big hole. This is exhaust side. It's got a steel ring on it. The intake isn't so bad, but that's a big gap. Got the bolt holes lined up here. This is obviously the new one, but you can see the difference in size for the exhaust. The intakes match up pretty well, but the exhaust manifold is wrong. So you can see where we've got some openings here and whatnot. So we're going to go ahead and run with the old gasket on there for right now. This is the one that I got here for a 2004 Grand Cherokee, which is what this engine was, supposed to have came out of. The truck itself is a 2000 TJ. Maybe the exhaust on it is from the 2000, so it needed the 2000 gasket or something like that. But MS94790 is the Felpro part number for the new gasket, and it does not work for this application. So I'll just take a picture of this one for, having on hand, whatever, so I can get another one that actually works. You know what? All the Jeeps that I end up getting always have this weird, just these weird unexplainable type of things with them. And this Wrangler is no different. So on the white Cherokee that I've got, that thing had all kinds of just unexplainable damage that just doesn't make any sense in relation to the other parts of the truck. Like the grill was in perfect condition and doesn't look like it had ever been off. And then behind that, the radiator and the condenser were caved in like it had hit a tree. So, and just tons of stuff just like that. And on this thing, we're fixing it because a nut had wedged itself in the valve and bent it and wrecked the seat. Well, we couldn't figure out how that could happen because the intake on this thing, the intake tube goes across the engine and down. So somebody would have to like throw a nut through that whole thing and get it down to the other side before it could go into the throttle body. It's not like a 4-barrel truck or something like that where you could accidentally just drop something straight down and it would just fall into the heads. It's not like that on this. So anyways, Jay noticed something. I don't know if it's in the other video or not, but he noticed something when the head was off. Jay said, man, I think that somebody did a port job on this head because all of the ports and the runners were so smooth. I'm like, well, I don't think so, man. Like, why would anybody do all that machine work on a Jeep 4-liter that's in a Wrangler of all things, right? I mean, it's not for performance or flow, not on a Wrangler, but he noticed that it was all super smooth. And I just was like, whatever, I don't know, who knows? And then I noticed this. This is the intake manifold. You can see what it looks like, but check it out. Let me get the light on it so you can see the edge where all of this damage is done, where it's all spalled over and mushroomed over, and it's just lots of damage here where all of the material was pushed out, just worn away over time, and it's all super smooth. And then if you feel it, it's like a mirror in there. It's ultra smooth. It's crazy, and they're all like that. The center ones aren't, but it is what it is, you know. But you can see like kind of the difference in the casting roughness there versus over here. It's a pretty dramatic difference between them. You can even see the markings where stuff was bouncing around in there. I don't know how well you can really see. The camera has a hard time picking up shiny surfaces. But this here, it's a pretty good giveaway to what was going on. All of this rounded edge. It should be flat like this one. It's just the way it is, but it's not. It's all rounded over. It's crazy. So the only conclusion I can come to is that when that engine was in a junkyard or wherever it was, somebody or somehow a nut fell into the throttle body of the engine itself, and it made it down in there, but it was what, 3/4 inch or whatever the size was originally, and it just vibrated through that whole intake track down into the heads, back out through the runners. It's a big intake, you know. The runner length is pretty huge on that, but it just vibrated around like a little file, just constantly back and forth for years, polished out the runners of the intake, polished out, you know, inside the head and everything, until finally it wore itself down to a diameter that was small enough for it to fall down and get wedged into the valve. That's the only thing it could be. And that damage right there pretty much confirms it. So pretty wild. I didn't know what the deal was. Like, how would a nut even end up in there? It was because it was so big. But there you go. That explains it. All the damage to the intake. But at least I got a free port job out of it for the most part, I guess, if you want to call it that. Not that it'll make any difference really at all, but it's still kind of cool to see it. All right, I sprayed it all out with some brake clean, but you can get a better idea now of just how smooth everything is inside of there compared to the way that, you know, like this one is, for instance. You see that? That's the way that the port should look. All rough. Well, not should, but that's the way it is from the factory. It's all rough. Look at it in there. So nice and smooth. It's crazy. Over here as well. You know, a port that hasn't really been affected by it. And then some polished out ports. I don't know, I just think that's pretty neat. Neat in a bad way, but I mean, it worked. You know, it's pretty nice. But look at that. Look at how smooth everything is. That's so crazy. Well, maybe I'm making too big of a deal out of it because I think it's just so interesting. But, you know, ask some of your mechanic friends how often they've seen something like this happen, where a big foreign metal object has made its way into the intake tract of the engine, vibrated around so long that it polished out the intake tracks inside the head too, without damaging the engine like immediately. Usually that's what happens. Nut, bolt fall inside, fire up the vehicle, within seconds you know there's a problem and it's catastrophic. But this is a really rare kind of unicorn occurrence. I just think it's just fascinating. So I've seen a lot, but I haven't seen this. Alrighty folks, it's that time I think. I've got just a couple little things like the intake tube and whatnot and connect the battery on this. I went ahead and reassembled the engine off camera because it's just a lot of bolt turning. So if you want to see a video on how all this stuff comes off in order to get the head off, I have an entire video on that you can check out. But I just tried to save a little bit of time and put everything on. So everything should be good. I've had the heater on for over 9 hours today and just now managed to get it up to 43 degrees in the shop. The door is frozen shut. Again, I can't win with these doors. I can't move it even like a fraction of an inch, so hopefully it doesn't smoke too much because I only have the entry door as ventilation. So we'll have to see. I don't know. This thing might even have a rod knock. I really don't know. The battery was frozen solid and it had 0 volts, so I've had a charger on it for over an hour. We'll have to see how that works out, but I think everything's good. I'm just hoping that my phone doesn't shut off because it's so cold, but I'm pretty sure I got everything on. There's that one sensor that was down there on that stud that the wire was broken on. It's too difficult to replace that. I don't even know what it does. Anyway, I got the alternator on. I had lost this pulley for 2 days and I couldn't find it. It ended up being over here just sitting on the lift pad, and I walked past it 4 dozen times and never noticed it. It still feels like I'm missing something, but I can't think of what it could possibly be. It's full of coolant, like I said. All this stuff was just zip tied on the truck, so it's just kind of hanging out there. But I'm pretty sure everything is connected and ready to go, other than the ground strap, which was broke when I got it and all that. But I mean, it should be good, I guess. The guy said he was driving it right before, it had that problem with the valve, so hopefully it doesn't have a rod knock or anything like that. But I suppose we'll know in a couple of minutes, so let me get everything all connected up, and we'll see what happens. All right. Probably have to prime the fuel pump a couple of times to get that to work. And then, yeah, hopefully no rod knock or anything like that. I've never really heard it run, so we'll give it a shot. That's awesome. Yeah, buddy, I don't hear any like crazy noises in the engine. A little bit of oil burning off of it. Unless it's leaking from the back. Maybe the valve cover. I think I got it tightened down. Oh, she sounds good. She's sounding good, folks. Oh, this is gonna suck in here with no ventilation. I don't have the shroud on it yet. But heck yeah, check that out. Awesome Jeep. It's running good. Did it got crap all over me or what? I don't know. Yeah, she's smoking a little bit, but that's just the oil and stuff that's on the intake manifold. Or it's on fire. I don't know. I don't think so, though. It's just the oil or whatever. But sounds great. There's the broken shroud, so I'll have to fix that. The biggest issue is that it's missing a whole piece at the bottom. This I can just kind of zip tie on or whatever, but I'll have to make something for the back. This is great though. Check that out. Purring like a kitten. It's kind of starting to clear up a little bit. Woo! I didn't even check back here. She's chooching. Holy crap. What the heck? Maybe it's broken still. That would be, more than likely, that would be head gasket. But it's got brand new head gasket on it. I don't know. Maybe I should have Magnafluxed that head. It doesn't smell like oil, so that's not ideal. Yeah, I think that's head gasket. Maybe the engine's broke. Couldn't have gotten anything else wrong in there. Well, that's disheartening. I stepped outside to get away from all of the vapors or smoke or whatever in there. I'm trying to think of what it could be. I can't think of what, honestly, it could be other than something's actually broken in the head. It's got a crack somewhere. All I can really do is go up now that it runs, which I guess that's a good thing that it actually runs, but I would have to go up and get a combustion gas tester and put on the radiator. Well, actually, we should see if it's burbling out. So we should see some flow down in the radiator. I guess I'd have to take the thermostat out. Maybe not. If it starts burbling, you'll see a lot of, gas bubbles and stuff in the radiator if there's some type of leak in the head gasket or something like that. It's not always the case. Sometimes there's some other damage, but the head looked good otherwise. So we'll give it a second. We'll fire it up again. Maybe it's just got a lot of coolant or something burn up and just loaded up in the exhaust and it just needs to burn off. I might be overreacting right now. It has to warm up and everything before I can check 100%. But since I can't open that door, I don't really want to be trapped in here with a bunch of nasty smoke. Anyway, I'm a little bit worried about that. We'll try it again, but I can't see where we would have a different result. That was a lot. And it doesn't smell like oil, which can only mean it's coolant. And I can't think of where the coolant could be coming from. The runs nice. Did it clear up? Where is my light? There's water in there. I see no bubbles. We'll add a little bit more. I mean, it is freezing cold out here, but maybe that's just water vapor. That's coolant. It's like, I don't know, maybe that was just on my hand. It gets kind of sticky. You can feel it. Doesn't smell like anything, honestly. I see no bubbles in here, but I have gotten something wrong somewhere. Man, Man, it sure runs good. Starting to clear up a little bit, isn't it? No? Huh. Well, let me top it off with some coolant, let it run for a little bit, and we'll see. My hand doesn't feel sticky right now, like or slimy from coolant in the exhaust, but that could just be maybe I had something on my hands. I don't know, honestly, there shouldn't be anything wrong with it. That's the thing, it's just, I mean, we just had a hung valve, so I don't quite know. Maybe I'm overreacting. Who knows? It is starting to clear up some. Let me wait for it to get up the temperature. Maybe I'm just freaking out for no reason. Does it say what temperature it is? 219,000 on the old girl. What's that new noise? All right, how we looking? Well, we're coming up on temp a little bit. Let's see how we're feeling on heat. Dang. Blower motor's working good. Sorry, I got no light in here. We're out of gas too. We do have some heat. A little bit. It's hard to freaking tell because it's just so cold out. I don't know if it's up to temp yet, but we're just a little bit above whatever 150 we'll call it. I don't know, man. Idler pulley maybe over there? It would have to be the idler pulley. Or a water pump? Maybe it's sucking water in? I don't know. Seems perfectly fine. Build up some pressure and see if anything changes. With no ventilation out here, I can't really leave the truck running for too long. In here with me just by myself, it's gonna kill me. We'll see if we can get this back door open. Well, would you look at that? I actually got the back door open. I dug out this whole channel last year, super deep, so I could hopefully get it open. And it worked out. Look at all those animal trails out there. I haven't been out there at all to any of these vehicles. I walked over here today. That's about it. To see if it had that idler pulley that I was missing. Just broke my shovel. Trying to dig out the door. The guy I bought off of said that the transmission sounds like it has marbles in it. This is the first time they'll ever be able to move it under its own power, so let's back it out and see. Well, it's a little bit late to take it out tonight in the snow. That's an awful lot of steam in there. Yeah, me thinks that she's got something else wrong with her. I never said that, never said it was overheated or anything like that. I'm trying to think what that could potentially be. Cracked head? Dang. It's got the good head on it too. The toopy head. I don't know. You guys can let me know in the comments what you think. On the bright side, at least we can get that door shut. This one I'm not so sure about. Good news, even if the engine is kind of trashed, the 4 liters aren't super hard to find, so they're not ultra expensive either. I need to wait until it's a little bit warmer out. I don't think it's going to change much, but I don't know. Did I forget something? I don't think so. I think that's just how it is. So there might be a crack in that head. That's what's so weird though about it. Maybe I'm wrong, because when you have a clear-cut problem like that, we had a nut that fell into the engine and got caught on that valve face and hung the valve open. That's all that it was. It's not like a weird, it was running hot thing or intermittent problem or the drivetrain broke or it's knocking or anything like that. I mean, guy said it wasn't running right. We found that there's a nut in the valve. We fixed that part, so I don't really know what the deal is. Maybe something will change. I don't know. Maybe I'm just overreacting. It just seems weird that it would be, leaking coolant or burning coolant when we found what the problem was, and it was pretty obvious. Unless this thing had a problem before that. I really don't know. I do know it's freezing cold though. All right, everybody, it's not quite absolute zero today like it was yesterday. I've zip tied the big fuse block up there, the washer fluid reservoir, all of that, so it just doesn't bounce around. We'll start it up, see how it looks, and then we'll take for a cruise out in the field, let it warm up, go through the gears, all that stuff. As far as I know, this thing could be missing 4th and 5th gear. Who knows? I don't know anything about this truck, so let's give it a shot and see what's up. It didn't look like we lost any coolant over the night, so there's that. I don't know if that's an indicator of anything. Probably not. All right, well, it looks normal-ish, I guess, compared to yesterday. Just looks like a normal vehicle in the cold right now. I don't know if you guys will be able to see anything in your position or what. Ooh, almost ran over the tow dolly back there. Biggest coat that I have on because it's so freaking cold out. Alright, we'll try second gear. Oh, second gear works. I don't even know what you guys can see. Nice. And the snow is deep. It's like a foot deep out here. Oh. Rattling. This is the first time I've driven this truck. So far everything seems to work. Temp is up to where it was yesterday. possible. Oh man, the back window isn't locked or shut. All right, I don't have a microphone on this camera right now, but there it is. Well, now that I'm not asphyxiating like I was last night and I'm out in kind of fresh air, maybe the exhaust does kind of smell a little bit like coolant. I'm not really sure. So I don't know what the deal is with the truck right now. I do need to put some fuel in it. Alright, I decided to take it out, you know, actually put it through the gears. That's the first time I've had it in fourth gear. I think you guys are vibrating a lot. Fifth gear. I don't know what the guy's talking about. The transmission feels fine to me. I'm sure that this video is going to be unusable because I can see how much the camera is shaking around. Alright, well, one donut. One donut, we're stuck. Let's see, you guys, there you go. Not a whole lot of traction in two-wheel drive. This thing sucks in two-wheel drive. It's nothing like the Cherokee. The Cherokee's a tank. This thing hates two-wheel drive. Four-wheel drive, totally different story. We'll get it home and see if it's blasting out a ton of vapor still. The guy that I got this from, he said he put 3 clutches in this truck and that the transmission sounded like it had marbles in it. I don't know what he's talking about. I don't feel anything weird about this transmission. It feels perfectly fine to me. Shifts nice and smooth. I don't know, man. Seems good. I don't know how much of this video is actually going to be usable because I could see the camera just shaking. So I don't know. We're going to see though once I edit it. All right. She's as warm as it's going to get. And it looks like all of that steam has went away. Yeah, I don't see any. Smells like exhaust. Maybe everything just had to heat up. I don't know, and bed in, kind of. Maybe the MLS head gaskets take a minute or something to seal up. I'm not really sure. But it definitely isn't chooching like it was. So, I don't know. I'm not used to seeing something like that. So let me know in the comments if you have experience with, you know, this type of a situation, because I've never ran into it. Overall though, pretty cool. And there you go, everybody. A little bit of work. Valve seat. Got the old Wrangler back on the road, or almost on the road. I'll go get plates for it tomorrow or whenever I can. Anyhow, yeah, not too bad. A valve seat. There you go. Got the Wrangler going again. It's got so many nice parts on it. You know, it's kind of a shame. So we brought it back, or saved it from the dead, whatever you want to call it. Got a pretty nice little Wrangler out of the deal. I will say that I like my XJ more in the snow than this. Maybe it's the tires. I'm not really sure, but I always like these Wranglers. They're sweet little trucks. It's bouncy and it rattles a lot, but that's just kind of the Wrangler thing. Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed the the Wrangler videos. There's a couple of things coming up that I think you guys might like. There's a few upgrades that I might get for this thing. We'll see how it goes. But other than that, thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.